Episode 118 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Support the show at patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter of the week is Ezia. We're also brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/wild for a free month and a free audiobook. Welcome to episode 118 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dills, and helping me guide you through the lands of Gielinor this week is Deegan.
Hey, how's it going?
Figured I'd change things up a little bit. It's getting a little stale. Anyways, a lot to go through as we play a little catch-up in the dev blogs. A bunch of poll questions as they propose some changes and tweaks to the Kebo Lowlands, along with some graphical changes and little fixes. Something that is expected with such a big update. But that's not all. We have some things going on in the community. And the biggest news coming from, I guess, the Twitch community. A RuneScape 3 streamer says some not so good things to someone and ends up getting banned on Twitch and having all of his accounts banned within RuneScape itself. Anyways, before we get into all of that, Deegan, did you do anything exciting this week?
No.
Okay. On to the news.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of work. Had like a company dinner, which was kind of awkward, but
fun. Good old work outings.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been playing like Dark Souls 3 and like random ass games.
Anything fun to talk about? Any interesting new early access survival battle royale MOBAs?
No. Nothing. Like, I haven't really done much. I've just been like working a lot. Like, besides like going into specific things that happen at work, people like typically don't care about that stuff though. I don't know. I guess like you ever have like you ever work with people and there's like gossip and shit going like on in the workplace?
Oh yeah,
but they're trying to keep you like you're not supposed to know about it. So like they're being secretive about it, but they're so bad that you just know what they're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, do you know, like, there's been, like, money missing from the store.
Oh, fun.
And
okay.
They've been suspecting for a while that someone's been stealing it, and, like, they don't want me to know who they think it is, because they think I'm friends with this person.
Oh.
But really, it's, like, one of the few people I just, like, chat with, I guess, because I don't really relate to most people, like, in my store, it's like most people are like in high school or they're like older with like kids and they're like married and shit, right? And I'm in the middle.
Right. So they're either dabbing a bunch or they're, I don't know, bees kneesing.
Kids and adults.
True.
Yeah. And usually just because the way my work schedule is and my available hours, there are people that are, like, my age, because, like, I started working when, like, everyone finished college and then got their career jobs, so they started filling in new people.
Yeah, usually how it goes.
Mm-hmm. And, so there's a couple people my age, but, like, I rarely work with them.
Okay.
So I only bring that up because, like, when I do work with some people, it's, like, it's very small. Like, I'll have just, like, typical small talk with them, but then, like, and whatever. All in all, it's like they pretty much I know that they're pretty sure this one guy's stealing, and like he's probably gonna get fired for it once they have like more evidence, and he's a shitty worker.
All right, well
I just find it funny that like they try to be secretive about it, but like I can hear what they're saying while I'm talking to a customer.
Got the whole store bugged up.
Yeah, pretty well. They're just like bad at like being secretive, right? That's literally all I did this week. There's nothing. I have nothing to say. I don't know.
That's fun.
I'm just making shit to like talk about. There's nothing important going on. What about you?
No, my dog ate a cat toy last night at like midnight. Had to take her to the hospital. Take her to the Emerge. That took a couple hours. And $250 later, ends up throwing up that cat toy. But
was it a mouse?
No, it was like a ball. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but. So I'm a little tired. Anyways, not really too important. Just a little bit of pain in the ass. Dogs are stupid.
Yep.
But yeah, with school, if you don't know, I am in radio broadcasting. How fitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm into my second semester. Last week we got to dip our toes with going on air. The college that I'm at has an online an internet radio show or radio station, and we got to go on for an assessment basically. Where you had, you were listening to Drake with
Drake,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Dills for the Wilderness Podcast.
And
Up
with
next,
me is Deegan. Hey guys, how's it going?
So it just goes every single week. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I just went in there, drop a little, audibletrial.com/wild. No, but it's good. We're coming up this week on Wednesday. We'll be doing a 1-hour show between 2 and 3 p.m. EST. And I get to host it for the first week with another person. So that's going to be exciting. And at the same time, maybe a little terrifying because it's going to be super overwhelming. And I can't really talk about RuneScape on there. I could try, but ain't going to go too well. Anyways, if you're interested in listening, it's going to be Wednesdays between 2 to 3 p.m. Ignite Radio. Yeah, igniteradio.ca. So yeah, the first 2 weeks you'll hear me on there hosting it. We'll see how that holds up. If you guys want to hear it crash and burn, then tune in. Anyways, for RuneScape though, I did do feels like a fair bit of things. Been tackling that farming guild pretty consistently. I'm coming up on 91 farming. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm saving up for Pegasian boots right now. They're about 35 mil. And I keep getting very close to purchasing them, but then I decide, hey, I want to train my farming. So I drop enough money on a bunch of magic trees, a bunch of palm trees, now redwoods. I'm just dropping a bunch of money on that, which gets me further away from almost getting those Pegasians. I was so close. I had 34 mil. I was 1 mil away from actually getting them. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to get some farming experience instead. So I went that route. But it's fun. I enjoy the farming skill. And I finally got the Hydra task.
Nice.
Yeah, I was excited for that. So I tried to do a few kills. It was tough to learn, but it's not that hard of a fight. As far as Slayer bosses go, it's probably one of the more tough ones. But that being said, the Slayer bosses aren't really that hard to begin with. Cerberus, once you get the hang of it, not hard. It's unforgiving. You mess up and you're dead. So Hydra's similar in that sense. Sire, similar, I guess. If you don't move it out of the poison, you're going to take a lot of damage and die.
I'd probably say Sire's harder than Cerberus.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd probably say Sire's the hardest Slayer-related boss. Well, I haven't done Hydra, but pre-Hydra at least.
Yeah, but then you look at Thermonuclear Smoke Devil, you look at the Kraken.
AFK.
Not even bosses, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after a bunch of boss tasks and other Slayer tasks that I didn't want to skip, I finally got the Hydra task. Did a few kills, died a few times, and decided I was sick of running back to the boss from the fairy ring. It's CIR, brings you right outside of Mount Carilum. And I went and decided to tackle the Ezia diaries.
Yeah.
So I spent a good part of one day just getting those done. And I almost have my elite done. I just got to wait for the Celestris tree to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Once that's done, and then I got my elites, which allows me to teleport basically right to the entrance of the dungeon with the blessing.
Yep, infinite amount of times, right?
Yeah, with elite it's infinite. With hard you get 3, so it's not too bad. But doing some of those diaries was just a pain in the ass. A lot of them are fairly easy. Zea's so big too, so you're traveling everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a few things where when you're getting favor, it's a method of getting favor for that house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a bad way of doing it that you're probably not going to do it. For instance, in the Piscalarius house, you can talk to a dude and he'll tell you to go to a house. He'll give you a direction of where the house would be in the Piscalarius area. And you have to find the house, you picklock it, you get this thing, and you got to bring it back to him who's on the other side of the area. The problem with that is now suddenly you're playing that stupid... I don't know why they think this is such a fun mechanic to deal with, but it's that mechanic you deal with in Monkey Madness 2. It's the one you deal with the Sorcerer's Garden quest, Rat Catchers, another one, where a bunch of guys are walking around, and as soon as they spot you, they kick you out of the area and you lose the item. So that's one of the tasks you have to do. Spend a fair bit trying to do that because it's just a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
You can't teleport with it or anything. But anyways, I got them all done now, which was nice. Got a nice amount of agility experience from the lamps. Hell yeah. Also, that meant I had to do all the quests in the Zaya area. And they're not bad. They're actually pretty cool. A lot of work gets put into them.
We're just going back in that stealth thing on Piscalaris.
Yeah.
They need like some Sam Fisher pun for that. Tom Clancy, Sam Fisher, it's the fishing area. There's so much potential. They probably missed it though.
I mean, it might have been there, but I'm just hitting spacebar the whole time.
Truth.
That's the problem. Like, doing the quest on Zaya, I'm spamming through it because I just want to get these diaries done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned last week how I'm going to be doing an Iron Man at some point in the future just so I can tackle some of these quests and read them. Looks like there's some good amount of storytelling from those quests itself on Zaya.
Mm-hmm.
And Zaya is such an awesome area. I'm like really happy with it. The Kebo's Lowland is just like, this is like beautiful. Doing the diary, you're having to go explore these places that I was just like, oh yeah, forgot that they added this area called Mulch, which is like a lizardman village almost. And you go in there, there's a lizardman shaman temple, which you go in that has the weird force field door that you get from Chambers of Zarek before you enter the Olm fight. Mm-hmm. That green face thingy from the Dins. I don't know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. You look at it and you're like, I mean, it's probably not going to be a raid or something like that, but I could see it. The potential's there. It looks like that's what they were doing. Like, whoever designed it, either they have plans for that in the future or they were just a lot of free time.
Yeah.
But it was cool to just explore it. The lizardman shamans there look crazy. Like, they look different than the other lizardman shamans, like in the raid. I hope they update them to all look like the new ones we have, because they look phenomenal. And then I got to try a little bit of that the mulch fishing, I guess, aerial fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty neat. I can definitely see the appeal of that. I haven't done the what is it? The way to catch sharks with the
minnows.
Yeah, the minnows. So I haven't done that, but I know it's pretty click intensive compared to fishing.
Yeah, like every 10, 15 seconds.
All right. Well, aerial fishing, you're clicking like nonstop, but it's kind of enjoyable, I guess. I could definitely see myself going there at some point in the future to try to get that tench equipable.
Yeah.
And that sack of fish. That'd be kind of cool for the that fashion scape. But yeah, I did finally tackle that Hydra boss, so I figured let's just talk about it. Let's go through the mechanics, since when it was first released, I didn't actually able to fight it. But I figured out the fight. It took me a few times. And I also was doing it on a laptop with a trackpad, which I hated. So I ended up opting to just using mobile, which worked better for me. But still, once I got home on my PC, I was able to really grind it out. Anyway, so the Alchemical Hydra, the new boss that came out with the Kebo Lowlands, requires 95 Slayer, of course. And it's a fight that consists of 4 different phases. So when you first enter the room, you'll see the boss there. He's going to be green. There's going to be 3 of these vent things on the ground, different colors. There's a green one, a blue one, and a red one. So the Alchemical Hydra, he does 2 different types of auto attacks. He does a magic auto attack and a ranged auto attack. You can pray against them 100%. And the way basically it works is every 3 attacks, he changes to the next one. So from mage to range and vice versa. Anyways, when he's in his green phase, the very first phase, you need to lure him on the opposite color of what he is. So you can just think of it as a combat triangle. So green equals range. What's weak to range generally is melee, which is red. So you got to bring him onto the red vent. And that lowers his defense. And if you don't bring him on that vent, he's going to be empowered and you're not going to be really hitting too much. So you definitely want to do that, because you're going to spend forever trying to kill him if you don't. And while he's in that first phase, he has a chance. He'll randomly shoot these pools of poison on the ground. Just step away from them, and you're good to go. Once you bring it down to 75% health, one of the heads will fall off, and he'll transition to the next phase, which is he'll turn blue. Still, the auto attacks are the same throughout the whole fight, except for the last phase. But what he does in this phase is he will shoot out these 4 lightning bolts that will be kind of spread out in the room, in almost not the 4 corners, but they'll be like a box that are kind of far apart. But they'll start honing in on you one by one. And if one hits you, you get stunned and you take a bit of damage. You can still attack the Hydra, but you can't move. So I'm not the best at dodging these, but I found if you run against the north wall, you can normally outrun them. But that's really what it comes down to, is just you run it and eventually they disappear and then you go back to fighting it. Again, he's blue, so you want to bring him onto the green vent ASAP. When you get him down to 50% health, another head will fall off and he'll turn red. So first thing you want to do, lure him onto the blue vent. And what he does in this phase is he'll randomly walk to the center of the room, and depending on where you're standing, he will shoot out 2 giant lines or squares of fire that will basically trap you in a small area. And then from there, he'll stun you, so you can't move, but you can attack him. And then in that area, a little thing of fire will pop up, and it will start basically spreading towards you. It'll be moving in a line. So what you need to do is you need to walk away from it and just kind of walk around until it stops. Because if it does hit you, it'll knock you back and stun you for a brief second. It will damage you like 15 or something, 17, but it'll also do, I think it's 20 damage over 4 ticks. She'll be taking 5 damage every tick, or every couple ticks at least. And that's pretty annoying, so you really want to dodge it because it can really mess you up. And you also don't want to box yourself in because you want to be able to get to the boss to damage him because the fire stays up for a bit. And then once you bring it down to 25% health, another head falls off and he turns gray. You can't do anything you don't have to lure him onto any of the vents this time. You just fight him. But the only difference is this time he's gonna shoot between ranged and mage one after another. So you're constantly having to flick from range prey to mage prey and back and forth nonstop. And if you mess up, you'll take a lot of damage because he can hit 50s. Same with the first phase. Every now and then he'll throw a bunch of pools of poison. You just gotta step out of the way. But yeah, you just range him down and dies basically. And that's the fight right there. It's not super hard, but it can be a bit tricky. There's a few things that you really got to figure out, and I'm sure there's better ways to do them than what I'm doing them. But I've been trying to learn them myself and hopefully figure it out. Which I've just been learning how to avoid the damage, but not necessarily how to do it and attack them efficiently. There's a lot of times where it's just me running and trying not to get hit, and I'm not able to attack the boss at the same time. Kills seem to be about 2.5 minutes. The setup that I'm bringing is like a full range setup with a blowpipe, Carol's top and bottom. You need to have boots of some sorts unless you have the elite diaries done, which I kind of forgot about because I was only doing it for the blessing. If you have the elites done, you don't need any boots to fight them. But if you don't, you're going to want to get the boots of brimstone or the granite boots or the boots of stone. Yeah, it's not super hard, but I mean, I'm like 30 or 40 kills in and I'm still enjoying the fight. I think it's pretty fun, but I could definitely see it going the same route as Abyssal Sire in a lesser version of, because of how you have to lure the boss a bunch and you got to wait for him to do these certain mechanics in the fight. You can't just brute force the whole time. Yeah, it's a pretty good boss. There's some good money to be had from it. I got the Hydra Eye, and the thing I'm just missing now is the Hydra Claw or something like that. Which is used to make the Brimstone Ring.
Nice.
Worth about 5 mil.
Out of how many kills?
40 kills.
Is that pretty lucky? What's the drop chance?
It's rare, so I'm thinking it's pretty lucky. It's probably 1 in 127. You need 3. It's like the bludgeon. You need to have all 3 pieces to create it before you can even trade it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I'm happy with the boss. It's seems well designed. The items seem decent for the most part. Nothing too crazy though, but yeah, overall, I'm satisfied with it. Any thoughts with you now that it's been out for some time now?
That's all I know from Hydra is from what you explained there. So I don't really know anything. I don't really want to be like, oh yeah, it sounds like a fun fight, because I have no idea. Something like I'd have to go through. But I was thinking, like, this boss is more on, like, the harder side. Like, it's not Thermo 2.0.
No, yeah, definitely not.
So, so my question is, do you think they should change Slayer bossing, or bosses you can only do through Slayer, to be harder than the average boss? So, like, not talking about, like, Calphite Queen and stuff, because, like, that the difficulty is just high numbers. But, do you think that, like, if you can only do a boss task through Slayer, do you think it should be, like obviously more difficult than non-Slayer bosses? So, like, because right now the hardest just regular PvM boss you can just do in general is Zulrah.
Zulrah, yeah.
In terms of, like there's actually
solo bosses, right? Because Corp.
Yeah, like,
but
I'm talking about, like, solo bosses.
Mechanic-wise, yeah, Zulrah is definitely the hardest.
But, like, that is, it's pretty accessible to lower levels.
Yeah.
Like, 85 magic, 75 range, or good, like, those are, like, you can farm them, if you know the mechanics, you're farming the boss. You can get multiple kills in Zulrah, like, blah, 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 blah. But it's way harder, and not even talking about rewards, because rewards not really relevant right now, but, like, do you think, like Thermo should be way harder than Zulrah, or, like, Kraken, because it is Slayer specific, and, like, Slayer is, like, it's like a skill that's like, yo, you can kill monsters pretty well, eh? Well, here, now you can kill these bosses.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, just like, it's that type of, like, adventure. It's like an adventuring type skill where you're proving how good you are at killing things, I guess. Like, that's what the whole skill is about, right? And, like, we mentioned like, Sire, I guess Hydra, and, Cerberus. Like, those are, like, the three hard ones. Is there any other ones that are difficult that are, like, directly linked to Slayer?
Gargoyles, maybe.
I've never... Actually, no, I think I died once, and that was due to a DC.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy fight, but, you know, if you're new to, like, if you have 75 Slayer, it's definitely way harder. Like, I mean, the boss itself is harder than Kraken and Thermo.
Definitely, because, like, Thermo and Kraken usually go there, and you're just... I'll do, like, 30 kills.
Yeah. So, like, not even thinking about rewards and stuff, like, scrapping the idea of, like, you get stuff from the boss, the concept of, like, hey, I have 85 Slayer. Should Kraken be much more difficult than Gargoyles, and then Thermo be, like, a pretty hard boss?
Yeah, like, in comparison to other Slayer bosses, it does seem like Kraken and Thermo, like, you can tell they just got thrown in there one day.
Yeah.
Before the other bosses.
Yeah.
And the other bosses were like, okay, well, let's actually take this more serious. Now, if you want to compare Slayer bosses versus non-Slayer bosses, it's kind of hard. There's almost like 3 type of bosses. There's solo bosses, Slayer bosses, and then the other ones, which were kind of more intended to do in groups, like God Wars, Corp.
Yeah.
Calphite, even.
It's like the pre-Oldschool bosses.
Yeah.
That are not solo, but their difficulty is just stats. It's raw numbers. And
yeah, for the most part, whereas these ones are mechanics. So, yeah, thinking about it, it's hard to say. Like, do you want to make these bosses more difficult than the non-Slayer bosses because you need a high Slayer level to face them? Is that, like, fitting? Like, I can argue both. Like, yeah, it definitely makes sense to... You're grinding out Slayer, you're getting 95 Slayer, you should be facing a boss that's going to take, like, top PvM performance.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is not, factoring rewards. Yeah. It's like Tinderbox meme, how you get Tinderboxes from Thermo, and 50 ashes from, like, Cerberus, where there's trash drops, but, like, not considering rewards, just the concept of, like, Slayer bosses being a thing.
Yeah, so I can definitely see, like, why you'd want to make them more tough than the regular bosses, because, in lore-wise, I guess, you're now more proficient at killing monsters in general. Now you got to face this new, like, Megalodon-looking monster. Now, the counterpoint, though, if you're going to be training Slayer, like, you're going to put that time in, should you get access to bosses that are not as tough as the non-Slayer bosses? Because facing a boss that doesn't require a Slayer level is kind of easier to get to. So if those bosses are easier than the Slayer ones, then, like the whole NMZ prod, right? Where those people are like, well, I don't need Slayer because I'll just keep facing these monsters and whatever. So I can see why they would make the non-Slayer bosses more difficult, because since for the most part, anyone can face them, there needs to be that gap. Like, okay, you're not putting in the time to get your Slayer level up. Well, then you're going to have to put in the time to get your PVM skills up.
Well, like a lot of it is like, in my opinion at least, let's just use Bandos, because Bandos everyone loves, easy, blah, 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 blah. Do it in groups, do it with the boys.
Great boss to take, to like try in a group if it's your first time bossing.
Yeah. And the difficulty is like just taking damage, right?
Yeah.
Pray the right thing, have the right gear, have the right like levels. If you're a tank, you have to walk under him. That's like the mechanic. Bring Guthans, let your teammates heal, juggle the bones, god damn it.
Yeah.
You're also doing it in a group. I mean, you have the option to do it in a group. So like I guess that's why the stats are so high. But then with Slayer bosses, you have to solo them, which makes sense because it's, through Slayer, it's kind of like a solo.
Would be kind of annoying to have to find someone else with the task.
Yeah.
At the same time, that's kind of cool too, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, it would be interesting, but be pretty AIDS. Yeah, do you think that's something they should be considering? Like, even like rebalancing the difficulty? And like, which way would you lean if they should or shouldn't?
I feel like the way they're doing it now is like the good way of doing it, where like if you come out with a level 96 requirement for a new boss, definitely should be harder than Hydra. But at the same time, if they come out with a new boss that doesn't require any Slayer, I think that one should be more tough than... Generally, it should be more tough than the Slayer boss.
What do you mean?
Like, if they came out with a new Zulrah 2.0, let's just say. It's a new soloable... It's like a Vorkath.
Yeah.
I think it should be tougher than the Slayer monsters, which it just makes it a bit harder to farm.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, if it's... You mean like the Slayer bosses, you mean, not monsters?
Yeah, comparing it to Slayer bosses. Because you can't really farm them, you get lucky and you get a task with it. Yeah, okay. And then also, you're already putting in the time to get your Slayer up. I mean, everyone does that anyways, but still, you still got to put in the time to get that Slayer level to get it. And I don't think they should not... I think they should still come out with bosses that don't require Slayer.
Yeah, of course.
But those ones should be a lot less forgiving. They should be a lot more tough. You should be able to, generally speaking, because if they come out with a level 99 Slayer boss, then that one definitely should be maybe more tough than Vorkath and stuff, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But it's weird, but I think the way they're doing it now is like, it's good. Because most of the bosses in RuneScape that don't require Slayer level, they're pretty tough, unless, like, depending on their level, right? King Black Dragon's pretty simple. Calvite Queen... Unless, if you're soloing it, it's going to be tough regardless.
Yeah. Just
because it's going to hit you. You're only going to get a few kills per run. Same with all the God Wars bosses. You're going to want to do it in a group. Corp. You're going to spend 30 minutes prepping it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good job with it. And, yeah, I think the way they kind of... It seems like the way they're visioning it, to me, is like what I think is like a good idea to do.
Yeah, I was just curious, because the way they have Slayer done... has always felt really weird to me.
I think the weird ones that stand out are just Kraken and Thermo, whereas Gargoyle, Sire, Cerberus, and now Hydra, that one, it kind of makes, like, I look at them and I'm like, yeah, they're fairly tough. Once you learn to fight, sure, it's like a bit of a cakewalk, but still, like, you mess up, you're gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know, I just kind of find it weird that, like, Zulrah is, like, the hardest solo boss. And, like, Vorkath is super easy, but, like, I guess Vorkath is locked behind a quest.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer too.
But even then, I would argue that Vorkath is harder than Cerberus, and, like, Sire's tricky because it's very RNG-based in terms of, like, the minions that it spawns. Sometimes the minions will just rip right through you, and you have to take a step back and, like, Blood Barrage and move around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find like how they have the bosses set up. Like I kind of want them to take a look at it and tweak the difficulties. Like specifically a solo boss, because like I would always say Kelpha Queen's a little bit too hard, but you mentioned it. That was like the first boss, not really, but that was like one of the first bosses that have always like they really like want you to do that with like other people.
Yeah.
They don't want you soloing Calphi Queen. You can do it, but have fun getting 1, 2, maybe 3 kills a trip. But that's kind of intentional. Yeah, I was just curious in your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, it seems, obviously you'll have some, like, mid, like, it's hard to compare all of them, right? Because we have so many bosses in the game at this point that some of them are, like...
Well, yeah, that's why I was just worried about, like, Slayer bosses. Because you can't, like, rebalance. You can't be like, all right, we're going to make KBD super fucking hard. Let's super flipping hard.
Yeah.
You can't really just do that. Obviously, people won't be too happy with it.
I think the way they've done the Slayer bosses are good, because they're still tough. Your first time learning them, you're probably going to die, but...
Well, yeah, there's new mechanics and stuff, but, like... There's, like, what, 1 or 2 mechanics, like Cerberus, Prey Flick, get out of the, lava.
Yeah, that's it for Cerberus, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, news time?
Yeah, let's get into that news. We got a bunch to go through.
So I guess we'll start off with the Kebo's poll blog, and they revised it. So we'll just go over like what the revisions are and like what the polls currently are and whatnot. They did change Konar's loot table. I don't know if this is again or what it I don't know exactly what they did, but they did change it.
Yeah, they have the table there, which we will definitely be going into. It's one of the last poll questions though, so we'll get to that at the end.
Well, like, no, I don't think they just changed it. I don't think it was a question. So they changed. They pretty much changed the drop table. I don't want to go over like everything in the drop table because we've talked about it a lot, and it's just minor changes. But they want the reward to be consistent for players training the skill at 75 combat and above without any extreme drops. There still are some drops that are better than others. Obviously, like you can get pure essence, but you can also get like, magic seeds.
Yeah, 2 to 3 magic seeds.
Yeah. They didn't add uniques to the table this time, but they're looking at doing that in the future. Might as well just mention that because they did change it again for all you Konar Slayer people. But yeah, so I guess we'll start off the poll questions with some changes to aerial fishing. They want to link the trawling or the angler outfit to this fishing training method, I guess.
Yeah, so right now you would have to go to the fishing trawler to get it. Everyone hates it, especially because people can spend hours there trying to grind for it, while other people get kind of lucky, because I think it's like, what, 1 in 8?
Yeah, 1 in 7 or 1 in 8.
1 in 8, so it's like not the rarest to get it, but at the same time, you're spending 15 minutes doing this mini game for your chance to get a piece. And you got to do that for what, 5 different pieces?
4.
4?
Yeah. So yeah, it is pretty lengthy. I was looking into it. Obviously, it's super RNG based because some people are like, yeah, it took me 4 hours. Some people are like, yeah, I'm on hour 30. But like it averages to like around 10 hours to get the outfit, apparently.
God damn.
Just looking at everything through fishing trawler.
Which is one of the longest amount, like one of the most amount of time it takes to get one of these outfits.
Yeah, it's still efficient though, so keep that in mind.
Efficient?
Yeah. It's EHP to get your outfit.
So if I'm not mistaken, it is EHP if you're going for 200 mil. Whereas if you're just going for 99
or 99.
But you only get 2.5% experience boost.
Yeah.
And I remember looking this up before. I think it was with the farm. I can't remember, but I remember reading that if you're going straight to 99, you'll get it faster if you spend that time just straight fishing instead of getting the angler's outfit. It's not until you get like you're going towards 200 mil where it starts to outweigh it at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember just seeing that the farming outfit isn't EHP for 99. The anglers was because like the rates are pretty low.
Okay.
For fishing, And then farming, it's just like it takes you like 8 hours, but 10 minutes a run. You get 100k, you know. And wood cutting, it's efficient to get the outfit.
Wood cutting's one of the easy ones to get.
Yeah, it's super quick.
Then there's the pyromancers from the Wintertide.
That doesn't give. That's just cosmetic.
Yeah, the pyromancer does give you 2.5%.
That's stupid. What the
it's only the
fuck?
gloves that are cosmetic. So that one can't really count it if it's EH. Well, it is EHP, I guess, because you're just getting it passively while you're doing Wintertide. Well, I guess the fastest way to actually get your fire making experience is through burning the logs.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always thought you didn't get it, but yeah, whatever. So I'm not too sure about that. Anyways, so like if you average like 10 hours for your outfit through fishing trawler, it's super RNG. I think I took like 8 hours to get mine. I went dry forever, and then I got like 3 pieces back to back. I got 1 piece and then didn't get one, and my next 3 I got back to back. But I got mine like under the average.
If you're big into doing your clue scrolls, you'll probably eventually get, or even your diaries.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get
Minnows, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You need it for your minnows. So I don't think I spent too much time getting mine though. I don't remember hating it. Like I hated it, but I remember it being over and done with pretty quick.
Yeah. So anyway, so the poll question is, should Alry the Angler at the center of Lake Mulch sell the outfit at a shop for 100 mulch pearls apiece? The outfit would still be obtainable from Fishing Trawler Game. They pretty much offer this because, well, 1, it's a reason to do this. 2, you're going to want the new, like, weapon.
Yeah.
The little fish thing. 3, Fishing Trawler sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It really does suck.
It's a very old minigame. Originally, it was in the game just so that you can get manta rays and sea turtles.
Yeah.
But now we have better foods and a bunch of monsters drop those as reward. So
yep. And originally they had this next question was linked to the first one, but it was stupid, so they split it into 2. And the second question is, should the rate of which players can expect to obtain a mulch pearl from aerial fishing scale from 1 to 100 to 1 in 75 based on the combination of their fishing and hunter? So at 99, you get 1 in 75, and at 43 and 35 hunter, the rate is 1 in 100.
What do you think about those 2 questions there?
I'm fine with either or, because, so I quickly did the math, and like I might be wrong because I just did it in like 5 seconds, but if you were to average just the levels and rates and everything of all of it, straight like down the line averaging, it's like 13, 14 hours to get the full angler outfit just through fishing, doing this new fishing skill.
Okay.
Where, from what, I mean, there's no like set number that I could really find, but it was like about 10 hours.
Yeah.
Through fishing trawler. And this is like averaging, like, it's not like me including levels like 43 and stuff. I like the minimum to do this fishing. It was just averaging out like levels, blah, 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 blah. So it's a little bit slower, but you are getting experience. You do have a chance to get the fish, and it does bring you to like new content where right now the fishing trawler is only done for the outfit because you can actually fish the sea turtles and manta rays in the wilderness.
Well, you can, those are the crabs, right? Or the dark turtles? Or dark crabs.
Yeah.
So they're better. But if you want to get manta rays or sea turtles themselves, there's monsters that drop them.
Manta rays through one of them, Revs and Vorkath.
Yeah.
Where do you get turtles from?
That is a good question.
I don't know. But doing trawler for fish is like really outdated.
Can't get the sea turtles from Fossil Island from that drift net fishing, the underwater fishing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they've already kind of phased everything out through fishing trawler. The only thing is, the only negative I see to this is that this will be another dead mini game where you're only going to be using it for a teleport.
Yeah, that is true.
So
it is nice that it gets some people doing it.
Yeah, the main thing is that the strategies in which, like, you can, like, doing fishing trawler, like, there's sometimes you'll, like, just spam bailing bucket and everyone gets their auto clickers. Everyone goes down to Gary's Hood and they just bail the water, and then sometimes you just put your mouse in between two of like where the holes are, and you get the right angle, and you just sit there and spam click while you're watching Netflix. So you're just plugging holes.
That's what I do. Yeah.
It's still pretty awful, and like the main challenge to that is figuring out how to AFK it as much as possible without losing rewards, because there is an AFK timer. So you have to participate through like all like what 5-10 minutes or whatever, however long it is.
Yeah.
Through the mini game. So it's super annoying, and it's like, well, if you kind of have to just sit there and spam click, why not just kind of move this elsewhere?
It sucks because I don't want to see it being just an empty area. It's kind of cool where you go to the fishing trawler world. It's a bunch of people just funneling through doing it
And complaining.
Yeah, and at the same time, I wouldn't want to make someone do that because it's just such a
The main issue,
worse than NMZ.
well, NMZ's not bad.
Well, you don't play it though.
Exactly.
Whereas fishing trawler, you also don't play it, but you got to
Well,
sit there and push a button.
Yeah, nonstop. My main thing is that there's so much variance doing fishing trawler. That's like, it's like you can easily, like it's 1 in 7 per piece. Like you can easily spend 20 plus hours. There's plenty of people that would have been like, fuck, I could have saved time. It would have been more efficient for me to do this new fishing method, saving up the pearls and stuff, than to actually do the trawlers mini game.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, I did the math in like 5 seconds, so I could be wrong on that. I'm averaging all the times and stuff, but yeah, I honestly I do think it's kind of neat. I do like the idea of like you could actively fish while you're getting it. Like the only reason I know it would kill the mini game because like there's so much variance on how long you are actually doing trawlers.
What if they just cut back on how long the fishing trawler minigame is? Because it's like 15 minutes right now. Cut it back to like 5.
Is it 15 minutes?
It's like you're on the boat for like 10 minutes, and then there's like a 5-minute wait period before the next boat starts.
Well, there's enough players. You jump back into it pretty quickly if you're on the world.
Oh, yeah, fair
It's
enough.
kind of like pest control. The main thing is that you're not getting anything else. You're literally doing it for just the outfit. Like it's no experience. You know what I mean? So like let's just say in the perfect world, it's 10 hours of fishing trawler or like 13 or 14 hours of this fishing mini game. Like go do the fit because you're gonna get experience while you're doing it. Like
You do get a little bit of experience from fishing trawler, but it's very minimal.
yeah, it's not like it's nothing to really mention.
No.
So I do like the idea. It does suck that it would kill a mini game, but they would kind of have to just make the mini game more rewarding or like faster.
This is what I think they should do. Maybe revisit fishing trawler.
Yeah. Now here is the weird part, that this is the weird question to come in.
Things getting fishy.
Yeah, should players, this is the third question regarding Ariel, should players have the option to sell their golden tench to Owry for 100 mulch pearls?
Yeah, the golden tench is the equipable fish you can get, the cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that weird? If you get 2 of them, you might want to sell one of them.
Yeah, so
Oh, if someone gets lucky and gets it.
they could just sell it for the outfit piece. I honestly don't quite remember all the rewards. I know you can buy like the backpack for 1,000 pieces, right?
Yeah.
Which
I think it's 100.
Oh, is it just 100?
Pretty sure. No, wait, sorry, you are right. It is 1,000 for the fish sack.
It does seem kind of like if people are doing this, and most likely they would do it just for the barbarian fishing rod. Maybe not, but like because you do get the equipable fishing rods, right?
Yeah. Man, that would look great for Fashionscape.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was kind of against this, but now I'm thinking about it. Like I don't know what I would do if I had a golden tench. I'd probably you're not going to fish with it. I'd rather have the barbarian fishing rod in my inventory.
Yeah, but I feel like I want to keep that because that's got to be cool cosmetic.
Yeah, I guess.
That with the fish sack?
I guess, like, if you want to get all the rewards, it would take you a really long time.
Very long.
And, like, you're clicking, on average, every 9.5 seconds.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways. So, yeah, the golden tench as a fun weapon. So there's a set of weapons in the game designed as fun weapons. And they're categorized that because there's a category in Duel Arena that's for fun weapons.
I think it's like flowers, the rubber chicken.
Yeah. So originally it had been offered as one of these like the rubber chicken. However, on launch it had different stats from the rest of the category, making it advantageous in the Duel Arena where it still counted as a fun weapon. They fixed its stats to match the rest of its category. However, people want the original stats. So should the fish be no longer considered a fun weapon and have its accuracy and defensive bonuses all set to 0 with an attack rate of 3 ticks? So
what? Why is this being asked?
I'm thinking
Duel Arena scams is all I can think of.
Obby Maulers. I'm thinking this might be an event RPG 2.0 because the event RPG is 3 ticks and it's two-handed. So if you spend the extra time getting this, it's one-handed, which means you can equip it with a book, like a Zambi book as well.
That's silly, but at the same time, I kind of like it.
You know, this needs to have a spec bar, so you can 1-tick spec your bone dagger.
Sick.
Buff Obby Maulers. Weird. Anyways, so they mentioned in one of the polls or whatever, but they kind of want to revise it, that the option to open an instance version of the island in the center of Lake Mulch for a fixed fee in gold, that was like a possibility because the amount of players having to world top to get the best spots on the island. Because you mentioned in the past that they said it was an average of 7 to 12 seconds per cast, but that is all based on how close you are to the pools.
Yeah, you want the closest ones to you.
So what people were doing were they were fishing when all the close ones despawn, they'd world hop and continue, all that good stuff. They had the option pulled, but they withdrew it, and they'd like to just change or reduce the necessity to world hop to do this because it's not positive for the game.
Yeah, too many instanced areas. You start I don't know. It's an MMO. That massive multiplayer game.
That and the idea of having a world top to get better pools is like really silly.
Yeah.
So they want to tweak the fishing pools around the island, and they want to separate the island's pools by quadrants and increase the number of pools on the south side.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. They have some balances for the fishing contract. So the only concern relating to this is the ease at which players can gain a vast number of high-tier seats. Our plan is to balance this content without applying a flat nerf. This will likely take form of replacing the difficulty tier system, which one based on the length of time it takes to grow the plant. So you should receive more seeds for plants that take longer to grow, but you won't. That doesn't mean you'll receive better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Higher volume. Or more quantity, less quality, I guess. And the seed vault. So with all these new seeds coming in and people actually holding on to seeds nowadays with like birds' nests and contracts and all that stuff, seeds take up a lot of space.
Oh, hell yeah, they do. My bank's full.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want... They literally can't, as of right now, expand the size of your bank because just the way the game works, they don't want you to lag every time you open up your bank because the game can't process how many items you have. So if your bank was like 3,000 pieces or 3,000 items, every time you'd open it up, like your game would lag out super hard until you close your interface.
Just have a loading screen.
Like you'd be playing with pictures. Like actually. So that's why it's limited to like 1,000 or however much we have right now.
I like the way RuneScape 3 has their bank system. You can buy more space with real life money. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what I like about their system. I like how in their player-owned house, you know, your costume room.
Yep. You
can store items in there, but you can still access it in your bank. You can pull them out straight from your bank if you want. I kind of like that because I like to collect shit. A lot of people do in this game, especially Fashionscape.
Yep.
I want to store it in the player-owned house, but at the same time, I'm kind of too lazy to go to my player-owned house just to bust out some infinity. I'd rather be able to access it from the bank. So I think I like how RuneScape 3 does that.
Yeah. So, I guess on the topic of having to run to put somewhere in a bank, they offer the option to have a seed vault. So it would be in the tier 1 part of the farming guild. And, there would be a vault that you could put any number of seeds any seed at any quantity in there, but you can't do watered seeds or saplings.
Okay.
So just the basic ones, like, that you've like pickpocketed or gotten as a drop, nothing that's been tweaked with, and would be in the farming guild. So it's like you have to run there to get your seeds that you need.
It's just a pain in the. I could see myself putting the seeds in there that I'm not consistently using. I'll put my seeds in there that I might get as a contract. Whereas for herbs, I'm gonna still keep my Ranars and Snapdragons and Torsil in my bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep my magic seeds in the bank, but I might put my willow trees in that seed vault because I don't use them unless I get a contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If this was added to the game, Ultimate Iron Man would not be able to use it. Which is another thing for the poll.
Yeah, no, it's makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yeah, I guess it makes sense for the game mode. They shouldn't be able to. Ultimate Iron Man shouldn't be easier now since they add it. That being said, it does seem like a piece of content that maybe would make if they could access it, it would make sense. But whatever.
Yeah. So poll number 6, we're getting into more of the Slayer stuff. They at one point had the idea of a respawn function and the elite diary offering noted Hydra bones, but this just increases kills per hour and the bones wouldn't be like as useful.
Yeah, it's good to, and also the way he would have respawned would be similar to how Vorkath is.
Yeah.
So as soon as you click it, he's back up, whereas now you got to wait 20 seconds.
Yeah. Anyways, so they had those pulled. They took them out though because they don't want the kills per hour to go up, and that kind of messes with everything. But should the Alchemical Hydra have a Hydra head added to its loot table, this could be used to recolor the Slayer helmet. It would require 1,000 points, just like every other helm recolor. It looks really cool.
It does. It's kind of, what color? It's like a very, very dark green.
Yep.
And then with the gray trimming. My only problem with it is that it kind of looks, I don't know how it looks in game, but I don't want it to look super similar to the KVD head recolor. Because I don't want it to look...
Well, it will look lighter than the picture they show. That's usually in game things will look lighter. Think back to Inferno Cape fiasco. But and if you look at the Bandos piece they use as a reference, that's a little bit darker. Just it's weird that the program they use to code, I mean not code, but animate and like design art is like a lot darker than like the light settings you can use on Oldschool.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. If the above question passes and the Hydra head is added, should players be able to mount it on their wall in their skill hall, you would get 1.2k construction experience and 200 in attack, strength, defense, magic, and ranged.
Sounds good.
Sure. And then the jar of chemicals on display. They would have loved to offer the jar of chemicals along with the Alchemical Hydra. This drop is now expected for any huge new bosses to enter the game, but due to constraints on development time and resources, this was something that they had to make way for other content in the Lowlands. They have Ghost currently designing a new display case as of right now, and it's going to look cool, apparently.
And it does look cool, because I saw it, I think it was either on Twitter or maybe on the Q&A, but it looks pretty badass.
Mm-hmm. The dungeon shortcut. So currently players who fall to the Alchemical Hydra may recover their items outside of the lair for a fee. However, reaching this point requires running past other monsters in the dungeon, causing players to risk losing their items before reclaiming them. This makes it different to other bosses with a reclaim function such as Vorkath, which can be done safely. With this in mind, we'd like to pull the following question, but with an increased agility requirement compared to before, because we know this shortcut will take the same amount of time to traverse as running through the dungeon normally, so you wouldn't increase the number of kills per hour. So, that being said, should an agility shortcut requiring 88 agility that allows players to go directly to the Hydra without being attacked by other monsters in the dungeon be created? It would take the same amount of time as going to the dungeon.
So you only have to run past other, like the smaller Hydras?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really hit too hard. I've never once even come close. I just pray magic or range, run past them, and I take 1 to 2 hits before I get to the next room where he can't hit me. So I almost feel like most people who die going to get their stuff back, it's because they don't bring the boots. Because if you don't know, if you don't have the boots of stone, the boots of brimstone, or the granite boots, you'll take damage over time as you're running through the cave because of the heat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when Hydra was first released, the boss, a lot of people died. People would run back to grab their stuff. They would forget their boots because they're rushing. I've almost forgot my boots a few times. And they would die.
And so wait, if you die in the dungeon, you lose your items to reclaim?
Yes, but I think it's like that with any vault. So if you have stuff in Zulra's box and then you die, let's say you don't go retrieve them and you go to like do Sire and Sire kills you, you'll lose your items in the vault. Same with Vorkath and the Grotesque Guardians and Theater of Blood.
Like, I'm really confused then, because I always thought that if you just died in another instance, like I always thought it was if you died at Vorkath and then died at Zulra, you lose your Vorkath stuff. I didn't know if you died at Zulra and then died somewhere else, you lost your Zulra stuff.
I'm almost certain that's how it works.
So Ultimate Iron Man have to retrieve all their Zulra shit, go out, die, pick up, loot everything, go back to Zulra, die, go back to their first death pile, pick up everything, and then do the content they need to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Just check on the wiki now. That is indeed how it works.
That makes Ultimate Iron Man seem way more worse than I already thought it would be.
Such a bigger pain in the ass.
You have to just die an extra time for the sake of it?
Yeah, you spend 40 minutes just managing your inventory.
Actually, though, that's pretty ridiculous. I'll just look it up. I have so many questions now about Ultimate Iron Man, like, gameplay.
Watch some videos. Because I remember one guy got PK'd, and he had a bunch of gear being stored at Theater of Blood. And then when he got PK'd, he lost all of that. He lost, like, a bill worth of gear in his inventory. And then I remember, like, reading that to add insult to injury, he had even more gear at Theater of Blood that just got wiped.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of questions now. I'm going to look it up after this episode.
On how YouTube series?
No, I'll just look up efficient Ultimate Iron Man stuff, because there's some weird things I have questions about. Anyways, yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool to have this agility shortcut. Do you need the boots, though? I don't think
know.
so. Doesn't sound like it. Because if you need the boots, then what's the point of having the shortcut?
I don't
They
know.
don't.
That's why
they don't specify, which is really annoying. Because by now they should be specifying this stuff.
That's where I get confused, because they say it as if people are complaining because they get killed from the Hydras running through it. But unless you're such a low level, like I run through with no gear on, never once even came close.
Honestly, the way they the way they preface this poll question makes me think that when Jagex sees that somebody died running to Hydra, they think like a worm kills them and not the burning floor.
Or it's just like...
Or the Hydra, whatever it is.
Streamers, people on Twitter, Reddit, complaining about that one time that they AFK'd it at the Hydras, reading chat.
I don't think, like... Because like, I'm assuming... They probably know how many times someone dies, and like they probably have like ways to track like people dying at Hydra just to know the difficulty. They're not gonna just like stare at red and go, "Oh, it's too hard, nerf." You know what I mean? They probably have like actual numbers to, like play around with, and I wouldn't be surprised if like no boots, but you also get hit once by like a Hydra. It would show up in their like numbers as a Hydra killing someone.
Maybe.
So, like, because, like, yeah, if this shortcut requires boots still, then why is it a thing? That doesn't make any sense. Unless people, like, whatever. Unless they're, like, rage typing in the dungeon with boots on, and then they're just, like, getting hit by shit.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Anyways, so the worm drakes and other hydras. We're going to talk about some of these things. So, people who kill drakes and hydras said that the effort required to kill them is too high relative to the reward. So, they'd like to offer some changes. So, this poll question is, should shields and potions offering an anti-dragon fire effect other than offer the protection from the Drake's special attack? The usual levels of protection will apply, meaning an anti-fire dragon alone will not provide full protection.
He spits a little fireball in the air and it lands on you, similar to how Vorkath does it, but it doesn't one-hit you. It instead will do like 20, 30 damage. You just have to step away, though.
So could you just rock a superior potion?
Yeah, I guess so. I think this way people could AFK it.
Blowpipe.
Blowpipe, yeah.
Yeah. The next one is, should poison protection, such as the effects of super anti-poison potions and antidotes, have the amount of damage the player receives from damage over time dealt by the poison pool from a regular Hydra special attack? I don't know how that effect works, so you'd have to explain that.
So I was talking to some people in the CC about it, and because I've only done the boss, like I said, the first phase, he spits out like 4 of these bubbles on the ground. If you step on them, you'll take some damage. It's not a lot of damage, but it's damage. It's like 5 to 7, it seems like, every tick. But I guess the regular Hydras do it as well.
Is it the same as Cerberus?
Yeah, it's like the fire spawns.
Okay.
So I'm assuming the regular Hydras do that as well. When I had been talking to people about it, it was in regards to the boss, which made no sense because I'm like, I never had a problem with the poison. Sure, it'll hurt you sometimes, but it's not like Sire, where it's doing 20 damage every tick.
Yeah. Maybe they just want to AFK it a bit more, and they're getting hurt a lot more.
Yeah, from the regular Hydras.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Because, like, the only thing I can relate to is Cerberus is that sometimes he'll drop, like, 2 on the same spot, which are both one's under you and one's next to you. And then you take a shit ton of damage in one tick, and you have to move, like, ASAP. And it is really annoying. That's, like, the annoying part of doing Cerberus. So I can't really imagine... I don't want to know how annoying it is just to kill a normal Hydra and have it, like, spit shit at you all the time. But, whatever. Moving on to the next one. The bone prayer experience. So they offered to increase the base experience from Worm, Drake, and Hydra bones. Yeah, they have 3 questions related to that. So, should burying worm bones be increased to 50? And Drake 80 and Hydra's 110?
True. Okay.
I'm assuming this is gonna also be like relevant to like altars and stuff.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
They're really trying to make prayer a cheap skill now, because this would reduce the cost of the skill by quite a bit.
I don't know if it would reduce the cost because the price of these bones have gone up.
Well, yeah, because it's a buff, so it's only temporary. There will be people that are going to start saving these, depending on the price, or just straight up if you have a bone crusher, or if you're just burying them as you're doing it. Like, it does make prayer cheaper in the long run. There's more options. Like, when I was going for 99, I did wyverns and dragon bones, because, like, I'm just lazy like that. But I would, like, play around and buy as low and sell them if they, like, spiked randomly, because they do that randomly. I tried doing it as cost efficient as possible. Going between them, I was able to save a lot of money just playing around with the bones over the course of like a month or 2 while I was just doing other skills. Mm-hmm. I was able to, I spent like a bunch of money, spent like 80 mil or something still, but I still saved like a lot in the long run.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like having these 3 new bones, which would offer like either passive experience, just a new way to train, I guess, might change the prices of these other bones. Anyways, I guess some more interesting stuff. The Hydra Tail. So it is a tradable unique drop that comes from the Alchemical Hydra, and it's the item that you use to combine the Bone Crusher and the Dragon Bone Necklace to create the Bone Crusher necklace. You can or you could just alch it for like 900k,
yeah,
which is far higher than they felt it should be. So they were like, all right, we don't want to just give a 900k alch item. That's kind of ridiculous. So they had some ideas that I think they've mentioned it, and like they're not going to implement it just yet, because they did do an update saying they're going to hold off implementing this quickly, but this is just an idea for you to like play around with in your head, I guess. So they designed a new weapon called the Bone Whip. So it would be a level 72 attack weapon, and it would be non-degradable and have stats just shy of halfway between the standard and tentacle whip. So adding a Kraken tentacle to the whip, and it degrades after 10,000 hits, it gives a +8 slash accuracy and a 4 strength bonus. The whip is 4 slash and 1 strength, so it'd be right in the middle, and it wouldn't degrade. It'd be a nice upgrade just from the regular whip.
Doesn't seem like a bad idea. I could also see just putting it at tier 75 as well. Sure,
Yeah.
it's weaker than a tentacle whip, but
Doesn't degrade.
doesn't degrade.
Yep. So as mentioned, it would be non-degradable, and combining the two parts will consume the Hydra tail. So I'm assuming when they say it, they mean the whip and the Hydra tail.
Yeah.
In PvP, the bone whip will split, breaking the Hydra tail, only leaving the abyssal whip. Outside of PvP, the bone whip will be dropped, and it'll have a right-click dismantle option, but the tail will be lost when you do so. So, what do you think about that?
I don't see a problem with it. It seems alright. If you have the money, you're going to use the tentacle whip. I use my tentacle whip pretty often. At the same time, I don't see a need for it either.
Yeah. I just see like another whip.
Yeah.
That's kind of boring. Why not like I was going to say bone spear, but they kind of just brought like a new Hasta.
They did propose something. It was just an idea, and they had the design mocked up, but it was the bone mace, I think. The bone flail, sorry. And it looked pretty cool. Just a big flail.
Yeah.
And it would give you a one-handed crush weapon as a main.
Yeah, alright. But yeah, so they're not going to pull that. It's just some ideas to play around with that they might dabble with in the future. But yeah, so now I guess we got to talk about... Holy fuck, there's so much shit to talk about. So the Kren favor. The Kren's 5 houses are well known for, being annoying to get favor in. Tedious.
Yeah.
So currently earning favor with one house will decrease the favor with another unless you've completed Architectural Alliance.
If you're getting favor, for the love of God, just get that quest done.
Yeah,
It's
get
not
it
too hard.
Get it to 100, all that good stuff. So they want to change it. We want to make it so gaining favor in one house does not reduce the favor in others. This will make favor system fit the lore better and increase flexibility. Hey, they've pulled this like 2 times before. They're just rewording it. And they're just giving different arguments on why they should do this. They're adding in lore.
That's funny.
This is a farce. No. I've said it every time. No, this shouldn't be a thing.
Wait, they've done both these poll questions already.
Yeah, they're just repolling things, but now they're like, it's like they have like, I don't know, a bill, like a government type political bill, and then they like slip in, like, oh yeah, by the way, babies are now considered dogs, and they kind of like put like, no, we don't want that. Okay, fine. And then they like try and do it again the next bill. Like, dude, stop doing that. We don't want that to be a thing.
Imagine we have a PvP blog in 2 months from now and this is slipped back in there.
So, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel very strongly against this because it causes this weird thing to like min-max your percentages where like if you want, I don't know. Well, what was I had like good frames of references of like at certain percentages. What was it, like Arceus at 60% or something?
Hosidius at like 70, so you can get the farming, the woodcutting guild.
Yeah, it causes you to min max your percentages and not actually like go 100%. I guess with the diaries, it should be more incentive to just get it to 100. But with the new quests that come out, they give you a free 20%. Like, it's weird that, like, if, like, the whole point should be that you complete, like, hey, I'm got 100% with you, give me the reward, let me add to the Architectural Alliance, boom, 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 like, to the statue, and then now you can move on to the next one. Like, I don't like the idea of having, like, I have 60 here, 80 here, I don't need to get it up anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it what it actually does is that in the long run, for the average player, it makes getting favor more of a chore.
Yeah.
Because instead of just cranking one out and then you're done and you walk away from it, you're going to get it to a certain percentage where you need to do something. But now with something that's just like, I gotta get this done at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
questing.
questing, like barrow gloves, right?
Yeah.
I'll just do part 1 now. Or like, Barbarian Assault. You get your fighter, some people don't even do it, but you get your fighter torso and you're like, cool. But then now you look at the Elite Diaries where you need level 5 and everything, and you're like, I don't know. I'm not doing it, where
probably
like,
should have got those done first, because then overall you would have spent less time.
Yeah.
It's more efficient to get your skills
the roll levels up first before getting the fire torso. But
Yeah.
nobody does that.
And then there's me where like my rolls should be level 5 by now, but I have like hats and skirts and I got the gloves and I'm just like buying every hat and piece.
You're a whole different level of extreme.
I actually like Barbarian Assault.
I do too. With a good team, it's fun.
Yeah. Sometimes jump into CC with some boys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, rip some well, not recently because I don't play the game too much or ever, but
Remember when we tried to do a Barbarian Assault event and like nobody, it was like no one showed up and there's no one in the CC either. It's like, We tried to do it like midday though. It was like the worst time.
all right, Tuesday at 12 p.m. like your time, we're at whatever time zone's least convenient for you. We're gonna be doing Barb Assault, but like yeah, no, we've had impromptu. Is that the right word?
Yeah, let's go with it.
Who knows? Word of the day. Barb events and be like, yeah, let's do it. You're like, cool. I've even had it where I was just ripping Barb and someone was like, hey, nice. I like the show.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, he's like, let's rip some. I was like, all right, cool. He just wasn't in the CC, but
yeah, it's cool.
yeah, cool interactions. But like, yeah, I don't know. It like that's the best. Just I don't want to have to like go through every friggin' house and what you got each favor. But it should be something that you look at where you want to just finish it and then walk away from it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something that you have to just juggle. I mean, not juggle, but
You're juggling it now if you don't do the Architect Alliance.
What I mean is like min-maxing the percentages for the current rewards.
Just get them done. That's how
that's how it should be.
Yep.
So, and this is kind of like gross. But, so they link so that was the first thing we talked about. The next poll question is, if the above question passes, do you want pretty much 10,000 rune crafting, or if you're an Iron Man Herblore experience?
That's agility. Rune crafting ain't bad. That's 77. This is deja vu. I've definitely seen both these questions being pulled together before.
I just don't like how they're holding 10k experience like rune crafting, or if you're you and for some reason you do agility, I got God knows what reason why, but or like you're an Iron Man, you're doing like they're holding EHP experience, just free shit tied to something that I don't think should be in the game. I guess it's a win-win if you want the above thing where you can't degrade percentages if you're not 100.
Yeah,
but what we want, we learned from The Office, is a win-win-win, where everyone wins, even the mediator for having a successful. I guess it'd be a poll holder, right?
Yeah.
The players win, Jagex wins, and we win because we get to talk about it. Win-win-win-win. Anyways, let's move on to, I guess, a new little quest.
It's a quest for free to play.
Mm-hmm. X marks the spot. So, you want to do the little lore thing?
Oh, right. There's going to be some lore. Vios has long been a lover of treasure hunts, and his latest hunt has brought him to Lumbridge. However, not knowing the area well, Vios could use some help finding the treasure.
Yep. So this is a new free-to-play novice quest with no requirements. It is mainly targeted at low levels and is designed to act as a small introduction to Korend, while providing more links to Korend and the mainland.
If it's for a lore thing, if it works, at the same time, I don't mind Zaya being like this distant land that's just like such a mystery.
Yeah, I find the main thing is that they also do say this was to encourage new players, particularly on mobile, to find out more about Zaya and the Korend.
AKA buy bonds and get membership.
Yeah, it's the new Taverley Gates. Literally, though.
Could you imagine? That's cool. Like, they have like a cutscene where it gives you like an overhead view of it, shows you raids.
It shows you just a dock. The dock you enter, and it's like, you're at this, and then there's a line where you run out of energy. Now you gotta walk. You're still on the friggin' dock. And then it just keeps on going and it just ends.
Holy fuck, this dock's so goddamn big.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like is they have a 300 experience lamp. No, I'm kidding. But as the rewards are 1 quest point, 200 coins, and 300 experience lamp. So free rune crafting experience. Put me in.
Especially as a free-to-play player? Shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's EHP.
But actually, though, I think this is like, because like most people that are playing RuneScape now are they kind of meme on like, I remember my first time entering those Taverley Gates and dying at White Wolf Mountain.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like I mean, I don't think I died, but I do remember like going through those gates. Like that was like my big moment.
Yeah, everyone's.
I talked about it. Like before getting membership, I wanted to like beat free to play. So I got full rune, got my rune pickaxe, my rune wood cutting axe, did all the quests. Like I like got green d'hide unlocked, had 40, you know what I mean? Like I went and intentionally tried to do like every like free to play thing I could at the time. And then when I went members, I kind of walked through those gates and it was sweet. But if you're like free to play and you're playing, like, oh man, I remember walking through the gates. It won't like, it'll be kind of more of a nostalgia trip, but like you could literally have the same, not a nostalgic feeling, but like the same thing that you felt when you were a kid.
Yeah, filled with wonder.
Wonder and all that stuff through this quest. And also, hey, buy some bonds.
There's a lot of cool shit on Zaya. So I totally get it. Wintertodd, Chambers of Zarek. What else?
Sand crabs.
Sand crabs, rune crafting, blood runes. But the way the whole area looks, it's badass.
Mm-hmm.
And I could totally see that where if there's like a cutscene or maybe you're on like an airplane, because it's probably airplane, hot air balloon, fine. And you're flying over Zaya and you're just like,
where are we
whoa.
dropping, boys?
Yeah.
Let's go to the Lizardman Shamans.
Shit, storm's moving in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not a bad idea. Plus, I'm always down for more free to play content.
Yeah. So the one thing I do like that I think Jagex has kind of noticed is that when you go to Zia, typically you're gonna find like skillers and then like max accounts at anglers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not gonna see like everyone there at anglers. It's just like it's very specific people. But you go to sand crabs, you see pures and like pures dropping N bombs on newbies.
Oh hell yeah!
Like just low level players fighting with pures, and then everywhere else seems to be like higher level players.
Because most people who are low levels, they're like, I have so much to do on the mainland. I don't give a shit what the hell's going on over here.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. And it was for me too. I didn't touch it for a long time until my account was like, oh, I have there's a woodcutting guild. Okay, maybe I will go over there and see what's up.
But like, you go to like Varrock and not even at the GE or like Valor, you see like every level doing something because there's something for everyone there. And at least when Zaya first came out, it was like you're only going to be a high level or you're low level trying to quickly progress.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're like bringing in reasons for everyone to come in. Where like Fossil Island was geared towards mid-level players.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, you see some mid-level players dicking around doing some weird thing. But typically it's high-level players doing quick runs of stuff.
Yeah. Mahogany trees.
Herbivore.
Wyverns?
Birds' nests.
Birds' nests, sure.
But like, you know what I mean? Like it's dead content. But like the issue or the reason why I think it was is because they set like brackets, like a level bracket of like, hey, you are these levels, this would be good for you.
Yeah.
Where like Zaya is very much they're giving reasons for level 3 to go there, or like a level 8.
Yeah.
Not like a level 20 or like a level 120 for like raids or something, right? Or like shamans. Which is like super neat, and because it's so big, yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I do remember. And I've talked to people where they're like, I have so much stuff to do. I know that Zaya is a thing, but I don't want to go near it because I don't like
it's overwhelming.
Later, I'll do it later. Don't put more on my plate.
This game has so much shit in it as it is to add a whole new continent to it, which is like completely fresh to a player who's playing on mobile but might have played back in 2005.
Yeah, it's like, let me get my graceful first, then I'll go worry about it. But yeah. So I do like the idea of like this quest, just kind of teasing it out, giving little hints and whatever for new players.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, so keys to Konar's loot crate. So
we're getting loot crates.
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah, so like the Squeal of Fortune or treasure chests in RuneScape 3. No. Yeah, so many people have suggested that while on Konar's task, it would be more natural for an item to drop that could be exchanged with Konar for items on our loot table rather than dropping the loot themselves. This would make the drops receive a certain task feel less artificial and give Konar more of an active role in rewarding players. So should the monsters drop a key or similar item which could be given in exchange for a role onto her exclusive table? This would not affect the loot table, and should players receive a message to notify that they got a drop on the table?
Cool.
In general, just either or, right? If you have the key or if the key's not a thing.
I like that idea. It seems a lot better than just getting an extra piece of loot.
I guess we'll mention this, but so we talked about it quickly in the beginning, how they changed the loot table again. But so there was a user / tester for Theater of Blood, smart guy, I guess, good guy at the game, Cloud Badass.
Was he not with Bodhi and Wooks' team?
I think he might have been banned for 2 weeks for being a tester, and then
with another group then.
Maybe not. I don't know, but I do know this guy. I'm pretty sure this guy does do learner Theater of Blood raids.
Okay,
him and his buddies will teach you. At least that's what I've been told through my buddies that do Theater of Blood. That's how they originally learned it, was from this guy. He's a super nice guy, super helpful. I believe he streams on Twitch.
They all do.
Yeah. He broke down the math on why the loot table or how it should be fixed in terms of the value and how it's really imbalanced. Where without going into every detail, old Chamber of Xerix, right? You could get 70 mil from a rigger or from Dexter Scroll, or 12 from Augury, which is the same chance.
Yep.
Or you have less of a chance to get a harpoon, a sword, or throwing axes, which are worth nothing in comparison.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what was going on with this loot table, and which is why people were so conflicted. And there's a lot of at least in my opinion, why a lot of people were disagreeing with if it should be changed or not.
Because it's fair. Someone gets lucky, they get 3 mil. Yeah, that's broken. But at the same time, many people are I'm only getting 10k loots.
Yeah.
So why did it get nerfed even more?
But then if you average those, then you're okay, wait a minute. So he went and proposed a new loot table, which is the current one now. And he gives a lot of reasons and all this stuff and how it's much more fair and consistent. Blah, 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 blah. So.
Cool. Yeah, good on him.
That was kind of cool. And I like how Jagex did give him credit, and they were yeah, this guy is right and we're wrong, as always. But let's fix it. Anyways, that is the post Kebo's poll blog. Anyways, so with Kebo's Lowlands, they've done some graphical changes. So the brimstone boots, the ferocious gloves, and the seed boxes have all been,
tweaked.
Yep.
If you were doing your farming contracts, you'll notice this right away because they look like the herb boxes you get from NMZ, whereas now they have their own unique icon.
Yep. They fixed the bottlenecking issue at the guild doors where it would make you run in a weird way, I guess.
If you had the level required to go through them all, at least from what I know, the doors were opened. I don't know if you were underneath the required level to get to the different rooms, if the doors were closed. But this meant if I clicked into one of the tier rooms and I was in a different room, the pathing wouldn't really work because I guess it counted as unaccessible. I had to click through the door basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they fixed that. Makes sense.
They reduced the high elks for the high elk value for all the new items and untradables, except for the tail, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
There were some weird issues with the bird nests being obtained from Wyson when handing in mole parts. They will now include the new seeds. Do you think it's intentional? Maybe people saved up all these claws for the farming guild seeds, and they're oh, what a waste.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they just did a lot of random chat fixes, some mobile toggling things. Typos, lots of typos, notifications and stuff like that.
All the boring stuff that they just kind of put point form notes in.
Yeah. A lot of random, just little annoying things.
Most things that you probably won't notice.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to move right on to community chatter.
We've fallen a little behind with all the dev blogs, but we're going to be covering it in part 2 of episode 118, which also might be renamed episode 119. Anyways, if you are a frequent viewer, even if you're not a viewer of Twitch, you probably heard some unfortunate news. There was a RuneScape 3 player who has been permanently banned on all RuneScapes and Twitch. Are you familiar with this story?
A bit.
A bit, yeah. So apparently, a streamer playing RuneScape 3 was also on Discord with some friends, and he had Skyped. He had called a female friend of his.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Who I guess battled with depression and suicide. But I guess she wasn't aware that he was, one, streaming, nor was he also on call with a few other friends who could hear her.
I mean, let's be real. I think 99% of the RuneScape community didn't know he was streaming. He probably had like 10 viewers at the time.
Yeah, pretty much. The people who he was in the call with were all of his viewers.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I don't know if she had mentioned something offhand before about her dealing with suicide, but he had muted the call to her, but said it'd probably be better if you just killed yourself as a joke. All of his friends laughed, but I don't think she was able to hear it because she continued the conversation on like nothing had happened. And, well, anyways, if she didn't hear it, she definitely would have heard it at this point because this video just blew up. Well, the news just blew up, and because of him doing that, he got banned on RuneScape, all RuneScapes, and Twitch, he was permanently banned from. As well as some of the viewers, or some of the people he was on call with, who may have proceeded to continue talking about the joke, or laughing about it afterwards, they were also banned.
From RuneScape or from Twitch or from both?
At the very least, Twitch.
Oh, okay.
With the other streamer who'd been banned from RuneScape, Mod Shawnee made a post on the RuneScape forums. Because people still go to the forums, apparently. It's the Jagex mods, that's who. So he says, "This morning we became aware that over the weekend, a RuneScape player had live-streamed himself calling a vulnerable individual who had admitted they were having suicidal thoughts, telling that person to kill themselves. The RuneScape player is not someone with whom Jagex has or ever had a business relationship, but given the incredibly serious nature of the incident, we have taken measures that make it clear such behavior will not be tolerated. As a result, the individual has had their RuneScape account permanently banned with immediate effect. Jagex is incredibly passionate about mental health and well-being, and we will continue to do all we can to help those in our community and beyond, receiving the support they need to overcome the mental health challenges they face in their day-to-day lives." So boom, ban hammer, and he's gone, which kind of expected, right?
Yeah.
Especially since Jagex does so many charities for like mental health and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty shitty thing to do. But I guess one less toxic player in the community.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it does seem like a bit of a cesspool.
One small ban for Jagex.
And that's about it for news. As we said, we will be revisiting some of the other dev blogs in the upcoming episode, which should be released in a short period after this one. With that being said, I did tease, I think it was last week, that we're going to teleport back to January 21st, 2001. This is the segment where we like to go back in time when RuneScape was first released and go through some of the updates and the dev blogs that have come out. So this is their very first newsletter that they published on their site. So they said, welcome to the first ever RuneScape newsletter. Firstly, a big thank you to everyone who's playing. We only launched over 2 weeks ago and already have over 28,000 signed up players, and the game has been played for a total time of over 4.5 years.
More than RuneScape 3, wow. Bigger player base already.
No kidding. Help keep RuneScape free. Renting a server to RuneScape is expensive. I really want to avoid charging people to play, so please help me keep it free by visiting the website below and signing up for a few free offers. Quote, free. Want to win free cash every day? Try the newest freebie site on the internet today, freebieclub.com. Of course, it
Of course, it's loaded with free loot, great vacations, magazines, and samples galore. Wow, does that not sound like a scam or what?
It sounds like one of those pop-up ads that are like, click here for a free iPad.
Yeah.
Like putting all your personal information, and then it's like, now we need your credit card. Like, oh, fuck.
Not this question again. So here are some of the things that the RuneScape team started working on this week, or the past 2 weeks at least. The major upcoming update, the desert city of Al-Kharid. With that city comes a scimitar shop, a furnace silk trader, plate mail leg shop, kebab shop. Yeah, that's it for the city, but a new quest is well coming to Draenor Manor. And it says, Draenor Manor has been opened and there's a spooky thing inside. There's a vampire asleep in the cellar, and Professor Audenstein, who lives in the attic, has accidentally turned someone into a chicken. To make things worse, gremlins have hidden the parts of the machine, so he can't turn the chicken back. Can you find the missing pieces to complete this quest? And what else they've been working on. Improve the map page to show the locations of useful shops, and they added a Who's Playing page so you can see if your friends are on. This also seems to be a time where PvP was everywhere, because it says, we've made Lumbridge safe to give a place to hide from player killers. They've improved some of the shops to reduce queuing, because you had to line up. This is one of those things only one person could talk at a time?
Well, this was like RuneScape Classic.
Oh, this is going back, yeah.
If you ever played RuneScape Classic, there were some pains.
Oh, definitely.
There was definitely some pains.
So here's my favorite thing of what they have planned. We are, of course, working on many more improvements to add to the game to make it even better. We have nearly finished working on the bank, which will be hopefully placed in Varrock City the following day of this newsletter. Don't know what a bank is? Well, it's a safe place to store your money, such that even if you die, it can't be lost. Yeah, and that's basically it for the dev blog.
Yeah. Do you think there's people like whining like, oh my god, power creep, you can buy scimitars at Al-Kharid? This is bullshit.
This thing's going to be way better than the battle axes we have.
Smithing's a dead skill now.
I can see like the bank coming in and being like, wow, this is fucking Easyscape.
Yeah.
This is goddamn Easyscape.
Well, because the main thing in RuneScape Classic, the banks weren't connected.
No?
I don't remember. Like, I played a little bit of Classic. I don't remember the banks actually being connected. I could be totally wrong on that. But I feel like that was one of, like, they had an update at some point. I could be wrong, though.
I guess we'll find out eventually.
Yeah. Someone will correct us.
Or we'll get to the dev blog where they say, hey, we've connected all the banks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, with the next episode, we'll have a few more to go through. That being said, let's skip along to the Grand Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been able to find a sound clip for that, eh? I've been looking. I thought about using the sound of, like, when the Grand Exchange with that, like, little, it's like sounds like coins almost. It's like a ringing.
Yeah. Ding, ding.
It's kind of hard to get, though, unless I record it right off the game. And even still, like, I guess just play that quick little sound bite. Anyways, doesn't matter. Are you interested in reading books? Of course not. You're playing RuneScape. Well, maybe you want to listen to it instead. Well, that's why you can go to audibletrial.com/wild, where you can go and listen to a bunch of books. So if you use that link there, you will get a free month with a free audiobook. That's audibletrial.com. But you could also support the show directly by going to patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter of the week is going to be Ezia. So thank you very much for supporting the show. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, you guys are all very wonderful and sexy people. So thanks again. Now we're going to move on to the podcast news stuff. So Bale O'Hay was so grateful to donate us some money to start holding events with. So we are looking to have a hide and seek event coming up either this weekend or the following weekend. But check in the events channel to get more info on that. It's going to be held by myself and Magpie, who's compiling a list right now of some hiding locations with some hints. If you don't know how it's going to work, simple. You'll have to find Magpie somewhere around RuneScape. He'll be hiding somewhere. There's going to be 3 hints. Every couple minutes, you get another hint.
First one to find them gets X amount of money. Second person gets a little bit less. Third person gets whatever of the money. And that'll happen a bunch of times. So if that's something you're interested in, keep an eye out on Discord or Twitter or Facebook. Yeah, so yeah, the hide and seek event coming up shortly. Anyways, if you want to hang out with us in-game, go to WildCC. Our Facebook is facebook.com/The Wilderness Podcast. Our Twitter's @TheWildernessRS. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Discord's linked on both Twitter and Facebook. And then, Deegan, you got your things there?
Twitch, Twitter, DeeganRS.
Hell yeah. All right. And speaking of Magpie, he sent in a song request this week. The song is Vision. And he says, it brings back nostalgic memories. And I'm obviously a big fan of the bird sound effects. So Vision is a music soundtrack that is unlocked at the Wizard's Tower. Came out March 2004. And of course, composed by none other than Ian Taylor. And yeah, all right, guys. A couple days from now, you're going to be getting the next episode with more of the dev blogs. Thinking we could squeeze them all in here, but some more information came out today that we just have to have. It's going to be a long episode, so let's just break it up into 2 parts. So thanks, guys, for listening. See you soon.
Yeah, have a good one.